Dear student, hope you all are well. I am your assistant teacher for class 5 from IYS school. Kindly check your speaker that you are hearing me properly and listen my instruction carefully. Keep your textbook and notebook along with you to note down important points. If you have questions, you can ask me at the end of the class by raising your hands. Today our topic is reduce, reuse and recycle, and I am going to share the content of book page number 10, 11 and 12. Reduce, reuse and recycles, that are the three R's, essential components of environmentally responsible consumer behavior. I would like to define reduce, reuse, and recycle. Making less trash is called reduce. What is the meaning of trash? The waste of our home is called trash. Reduction means consuming and throwing away less. A lot of people throwing by us into our dustbin, if used carefully, can reduce waste greatly. The use of paper bags instead of plastic shoppers can also reduce our waste. The concept behind the first reduce is that you should limit the number of purchases that you make in the first place. For example, you might limit your household to a to sign household to a single computer. Do you know the meaning of purchase? The meaning of purchase, term of purchase is that we buying something, that we buying something. We can reduce our waste material by buying the things which are long lasting. By taking simple Do you know the meaning of purchase? The meaning of term purchase is that we buying something, we can reduce our waste material by buying the things which are long lasting. So now the next is manufacturers. Manufacturers can also be helpful in reducing waste by using less packaging material products. For example, the packaging of food product is necessary because it preserves don't need packaging at all or can be sold with less packaging material. We have lots of we have lots of suggestions for less packaging item. Like there is no need of packaging of shoes, boxes, clothes, shan and other spices can be packed in less packaging bags. Different household items, leather, plastic, bottles, etc. You can also tell me the some of the products at the end of the lecture. By taking simple steps, we can all reduce our impact on the environment and making save and saving at the same time. Whether you work, study, or are visiting the public places, play our part together, we can become more responsible reducers and recycler. Because students, these are the definitions that I'm going to share you, making less trash, that we have discussing about the reduce in detail earlier. So now the next definition is reuse. What is reuse? First, I'm going to define this definition, and after that, I will explain you more this one topic. Reuse. Using things over and over again is called reduce. Do you know the meaning of over and over again? We use things repeatedly. Reuse means that something old is new again. Reusing is the act of taking old old items that you might consider throwing away and finding a new use for them. The material which we have a long life can be used again after their original use is finished. For example, jam jar and jars from grocery stores. Foods can be used to store leftovers or to take lunch to work. Plastic containers and boxes can be reused in many ways. For example, glass jar can be reused as a flower vase. Reusing items can be repaired, fixed, like our mobiles, fixed like our mobiles, chargers, batteries, some household machineries. We often have clothing that is still good, but that we don't want to wear because it doesn't fit. Donating your clothes, your used clothing so that it can be worn by other people is one way to reuse. We often have used clothing so that it can be worn by other people is one way to reuse. Another way is using old clothing as cleaning rags. What is the meaning of rags? Have you ever heard the meaning of word of rags? A piece of cloth is using for cleaning purpose. We can also use different working computers and parts can often be donated to community centers or the charitable organizations. And also reduces unnecessary collections. For example, old bags, clothes, shoes, etc. We have different type of the examples that we are reusing in our daily life. As I have shared earlier that we have different type of the clothes, repairing clothes and other things, shoes that can be recycled, that can be reused again and again, and some household items like jars and other things that are reused again and again. In this way, we can control also the pollution. The concept reduce unnecessary collections. That is another option. That is another way to control the pollutions. For example, old bags, clothes. We have that old bags that we have used earlier, clothes, shoes we have used, and if these all things are in good conditions, so we may give to another people that they can use those things in their lives. Plastic bags may be used several times before disposing them properly. Like we have examples, we can reuse these type of the plastic shoppers for storing the food items, for restoring the food items in our fridge and other things. And we can also use these type of the plastic bags and shoppers in other hands. And we can also use in our we can also use these plastic bags for making recycle items. The concept behind the reuse is that you should reuse item as much as possible before replacing them, as we have discussed earlier. How how we will use these all things that we have discussed, that can be used again and again and again. It can be control the pollution and other things, and it can there is no harm to use those things that are again that are using again and again. If you have some other examples, so you can ask me at the end of the lecture. Reduce, we have already discussed about the topic. Now we just come to the next one topic. Before coming discussing the another topic, I just want to share previous one, that is reduce. We have already shared about it. Reduce. Reduce, that means reduction means consuming and throwing away less in our daily life. We should prefer that type of the things that are essential for our livings, and we should prefer that things that are the long lasting. For example, a lot of paper thrown by us into our dustbin. We have lots of trash in our home that we are thrown in our dustbin. If used carefully, can reduce our waste greatly. The use of paper bags. As we have practiced in our daily life, we are using different type of the paper bags instead of using plastic shoppers. As we know it very well, plastic shoppers are the greatest threat of the pollution. Can also reduce our waste. We can reduce our waste materials by buying the things which are long lasting. We always prefer that things that are the long lasting, and never be we should prefer that thing that are the long lasting. Manufacturers also be helpful in reducing waste by using less packaging material for the foods. How? The question is how they are manufacturers that they are preferring the less packaging. As we have seen in our life that if we are buying different type of the spices, different type of the shoes, and different clothes that we are buying from the shops, from the markets, as well as, so they have the lots of packagings over there. If manufacturers focusing on the less packaging, that can be reduce the pollution, and as well as the less packaging is also the good good method, good way to control the pollution. For example, the packaging of food product is necessary because preserves foods but there are the things which do not need packaging at all. We have another example that we are using different type of the jewelry items. So there is no need of packaging. There are different type of the shan and other spices. There is no need of lots of packaging over there. And all can be sold with less packaging material. We can we will discuss these things at the end of the lecture. Okay. Now the next is reuse. Reusing material. Reusing material also reduces waste that we have already discussed. The material which have long life can be used again and again after their original is used. How? Original use is finished. For example, if we bought a different type of the jam jar and other things that we are buying from the different type of the market is that are the food containers that we can use again and again. For example, glass jars, plastic containers, and boxes can be used, reused in many ways. For example, a glass jar can be reused as a flower vase, and we can also use these glass jars for as saving the coins, and as well as we can also putting them into it our jewelry and some other things that are the very essential to that we are using in our life. So, as we have discussed, reusing item and can be repaired and fixed, like our mobile chargers. Instead of using, instead of buying. Reusing item can be repaired, fixed like our mobile charger, batteries, some household machineries like washing machines, computers, chargers, mobile. These all type of the items that we can repair and we can use again by repairing and fixing them. We often have clothing that is still good, but that we don't want to wear because it doesn't fit. So, donating your used clothing so that it can be worn by other people is one way one way to reuse. Another way is using old clothing as cleaning as rags. What is the meaning of rags? We can use those uh, reuse item in our different purposes. Like old clothes, we can be used in our kitchen for cleaning purposes as a rags. What is the meaning of rags? A piece of cloth is using for cleaning purposes. We can also use different working computers and parts can often be donated to community centers or charitable organization, and also reduces unnecessary collections. We have different type of the collections that we have collect from the that we collect like our jewelry items, our clothing, our different type of the things that we have collecting in our homes. Different type of the peoples that they have the different preferences, different choices that they are collecting, that they are fond of to collect them. Some peoples that they are collecting different type of the jewelries items, and some peoples that they are collecting different type of the showpieces, and some peoples that they are collecting the different type of the clothes. They have lots of the collections of different items. In order to uh, in order to in order to give them other people's as a charity that they can use those things in their lives if those items conditions is good in condition. The concept several times before disposing them properly. The concept behind the reuse is that we should reuse item as much as possible before replacing them. For example, what is the meaning of the replacing? Do you have any idea about that? What is the meaning of replacing? Replacing them that we want to change something in the new things is called replace. It's called replacing. That we should reuse items as much as possible before replacing them. As we have discussed earlier. If you have some other examples, so you can ask me at the end of the lecture. So we are going to start. Last 3 hours we have total 3 hours. So we have discussing about the reuse, reduce, that the meaning of this thing we have already discussed, making less trash, consuming and throwing away less. Another topic is reuse, that we have discussing this thing earlier, using things over and over again and making the creative things, new things from that reusable items. And now last is recycle. What is the meaning of the recycle? What is the definition of recycle? What is the understanding of recycle? Before, so I'm going to define it. Making new material or products from waste material. Making new materials or products from waste material. What is the meaning of new material? Do you have any idea about the new materials? As we have seen in our life, we have lots of the things that can be recycled and some other things that cannot be recycled again. We have lots of the things that can be recycled. For example, we can use different type of the plastic bags, shoppers, and plastic bags, plastic bottles, and shoe boxes, invitation cards, and some other things that we can recycle again in our lives. Before starting the detailed description, I just want to manipulate this one definition again. Making new material or products from waste material. Meaning of waste material is that is already used. The concept behind recycle is that you should ensure that items or their components are put to same new purpose as much as possible. What does it mean? Whenever we discussing about behind recycling and items should be reused again and again. How? And it can be reused in different purposes, like household items, like cleaning purposes, like keeping them, saving the money, and other things. So it can be converted into like plastic bottles. For example, if you are using different type of the plastic bottles, like water bottles and like water bottles and other things that you are using in your life. So it can be reused. It can be reused in your life. And you can making things from those materials from for recycling purposes. Plastic bottles we can make from it flower vases, and we have other examples, lots of the things that we can make from the plastic bottles, not only the one things that are that we made from the plastic bottles. Only we can make flower vases from the plastic bottles, coin boxes, jewelry boxes, and shoes, and other item is shoes boxes. We can use for projects work. You can use, it can be converted in the plastic bottles. We can make from it flower vases, coin boxes, jewelry boxes, and we can use for project work and as well as some other work. Paper can be recycled into new to make cartons for packaging of shoes, tea, biscuits, etc. Recycle Recycled newspaper is used to newsprint, and recycled plastic is to make electrical switchboards and household items like chairs, buckets, mugs, and many other things. Different type of the buying buying recycle as well as some other work. Paper can be recycled into new to make curtains for packaging of shoes, tea biscuits, and etc. As we have seen, and we can also use different type of the papers that can be recycled again. We have a different type of the example. For example, if we use one side of the paper, so it can be recycled from the next or the side of the papers. And recycled newspaper is used to newsprint, and recycled plastic is to make electrical switchboards. As we have seen, it is we have seen in our homes, we have different type of the switchboards. It can be made by the recycled material. And household items, different type of the household items like chairs, buckets, mugs, and many other things that we made from the fresh materials. Be, Buying recycled goods is another way to participate in this part of the 3 Rs. How? How you will participate in recycling goods to buy that type of the thing that can be recycled and used again and again. In this part of the 3 Rs, two we have already discussed, that is reduce and reuse. And you may start to notice more and more products made from recycled materials stacked. These products are no different from standards of goods. They are just helping to make the most valuable resources. As we have seen, as we have practiced in our schools, that we are making different type of the products, different type of the projects from these type of the discarded and recycled materials, we can change into the new material, and that can be very very valuable things for us. Buy those products from market that are made up of recycled material. Example, the products should be environmental friendly. One thing, what is the meaning of the environment friendly? What is the meaning of environment friendly? The meaning of environment friendly is that cannot be harmful for the environment. That is very environment friendly. Buy Products that can be recycled, such as glass jars, invent new ways to recycle different items. Avoid buying dangerous materials that could cause difficulty for you to recycle by resources recycle. You invent new ways to recycle different items. Avoid buying dangerous materials that could cause difficulty for you to recycle. Buy non-toxic product whenever possible. There are few materials on the earth that cannot be recycled. There are many advantages we have, as we have seen in our life. We have different type of the advantages of recycling. Through recycling, we can save. There are many advantages of recycling. We can save our energy resources like electricity and gas. Recycling plants, electricity and gas. Recycling plants don't pollute water and air as much as plants for new products. Recycling also provides many jobs to the people. As we have seen in our environment, in our city, in our country, there is a biggest problem, that is unemployment. By using the 3R, third of R, that is recycle, we can we can overcome unemployment from our country. So now come on the content of your book. Recycling turns material that would otherwise become waste into some new materials or the products. The materials, glass, metals, plastics, and papers. As we have discussed earlier, those things that can be recycled. And one thing I just want to share with you, as we have seen different type of the countries that are well developed, they are using they are using different type of the products, and they are also using the trash for making energy. They are also using that recycled material for making the electricity. And one thing I just want to share, one thing that is uh, that as we have you ever gone last photo state shop? So that photo state shop machine, the shopkeeper is using the paper, same paper is using again for for the purpose of photocopy. Now come to the content of the book. The material, glass, metal, plastic, and paper, after collections, are separated and sent for recycling to the recycling plants where they can be turned into the new material or the products. Yes, student, plants can also be recycled, and that can be it can be changed in the new material. Recycled paper is used to make curtains. We can use different type of the papers, different type of the used papers. We can use making them curtains for packaging of shoes, tea biscuits, and etc. Recycling newspaper is used to make newsprint. I have a lots of example in that manner. We have different type of the newspapers that we can read and thrown into the dustbin. That type of the newspaper we can recycle in our homes. How we can As we have seen, as we have practiced, we just use papers, that type of the papers for for absorbing the green, different type of the products in our kitchen homes. So there are many advantages. As recycled newspaper is used and recycled plastic is used to make electric switchboard. We have already discussed these things, buckets, mugs, and many other things that we are buying from the markets and shops that made by the different type of the recycled material. There are many advantages of recycling. Through recycling, we can save our energy. Resources like electricity and gas, recycling plants don't pollute water and air as much as the plants for new products. Recycling also provides many jobs, as we are discussing that we have the biggest threat of the biggest problem of unemployment. It can be sorted by the helping of 3R.